Yes, there we go, guys. It is Sunday. It is Sunday, and this means another episode of A Drink with Brink, where I talk with other indie creators about their hopes and their dreams and their lives and their books and their campaigns, because I am done with corporate comics, guys. Mainstream sucks nowadays, and indie is where the passion is. So, yes. Okay, guys. As usual, I try to start with a little update. I was thinking, what could I tell you guys today? I could show you, for instance, the trading cards, the new trading cards that we made for Perfect 10 issue 4. So if you back Perfect 10 issue 4, which is live right now on Fund My Comic and Kickstarter, no longer on Fund My Comic. So if you missed the cover C on Fund My Comic, it is gone. You can't get it no more, but it's still active on Indiegogo and Kickstarter. The links are in the description of the video. And if you order something, you get free prints, but also free trading cards. And we make new trading cards with every campaign. So they are unique to the campaign. They are numbered, so you can collect them all. So if you collect our books, you get this huge collection of trading cards. And we now have number 1, trading card number 1. I can show you guys. One sec, guys. Let me boomer my way through this. So share the screen. Then I take this one, and then I take this one. There we go. Can you see it? Can you see it, guys? I know sometimes it's slower. Okay, so this is card number 1. So this is the front of the card. This is drawn by René Bergmans, a Dutch comic book artist. So it has this European style, right? And so this is the front of the card. And then we have the back, with the cute chibi version, right, of the character. By the way, this is the Flying Dutchman. And so you may ask, but what has the Flying Dutchman to do with Perfect 10 issue 4? Well, maybe he shows up. Maybe he shows up in Perfect 10 issue 4. And then we have Grotesque. So this is card number 2 with a Grotesque. And we have the chibi version of a Grotesque. I'm just going to show you quickly, guys. Quickly. And then we have card number 3 is Gorgeous. And so, yeah, it's literally gorgeous. And we have the back side also with the chibi version of Gorgeous. And we have card number 18 featuring Vendetta. So slowly we're filling in all these numbers. And we have the chibi version also. And so you get this for free, guys. So René is having fun drawing all these awesome characters. I love producing them for you. I love producing them for you guys. So let's see who's in the chat. Who's in the chat With us, I saw Ryu. Hello, Ryu. How are you, sir? Welcome, welcome. Mike is here. Welcome, Mike. Good evening to you, Jamie and Dave, on this lucky doubleheader special feature presentation episode of A Drink with You. Yeah, but it's not yet it's a double feature. It's a team. It's a crossover book, right? A crossover book today. Very very interesting stuff. Love any update. Well, there you go, sir. Let me see. I love your unique cards too, Dave. High quality. I still have all of my cards from Marvel's series 1, 2, and 3 from 30 years ago. I have none. I have none of the Marvel cards series. I don't know why. I just never got into it, or it has to do with the fact that I'm from the Netherlands and they weren't really available here. I don't know. All right, guys. It is time. It is time for the guests. Guests. I have two guests today because this is a team up book. So we have two creators. All right. Let me see if I have everything ready. I think that I do. Let's remove this here. All right, guys. Let's bring them on. So, Joe, sir, are you ready? Joe. Okay. Yes, Joe is ready. All right. Everyone is ready. So may I have a very warm welcome for Luke Stone and Joe Spicer.
It's a good looking crowd you got out there.
Yes.
You're all dressed to the nines, yeah. Very good. Very good.
Woo. Wow.
Joe,
welcome, guys.
Hey, man.
Welcome, Joe.
Hey, so I apologize. I didn't get home in time to make this show, so I'm broadcasting at my family's house, and I pulled out my phone. Time got away from me right after church, and it's like the family was together. I'm like, I got a show, and I'm not home, so I pulled out my phone and hit the link, and it kind of escaped me.
Yeah,
it works.
You know, for us that you know do the church thing on Sunday morning here in the States, I just thought that you were going to that you fell asleep, that you were going to take a nap, because that's typically. Well, today was the first day that I've played on the worship team in over 2 years.
Oh, that's awesome.
This new instrument, the dulcimer, this morning, and so I was up early, like butt crack of dawn, and it was so cold out. My wife set one of the smart lights in the hallway that every time it's below 32, it turns on and it turns blue, and so we know that if we let the dogs out, they needed a coat, and it's been turning blue a lot lately. But it was a deep shade of blue this morning, so it was crazy. But
all right, no worries, Joe. By the way, these are crazy times for you.
I know,
Americans. Right? This is a crazy time. It's Sunday plus afternoon, so I totally get it. Right. All right. Before we start with the questions and showing your books, guys, I need to ask the question that I need to ask all my guests is, what are you drinking? So, Luke, what are you drinking today?
Coca-Cola.
Okay.
Hello.
Joe, are you drinking something?
I have Gatorade in the other room that was in my pocket.
Okay.
Pocket Gatorade is my favorite kind of Gatorade.
It's blue. I don't know.
Pocket Gatorade.
I don't usually. I'm usually drinking like coffee or something, or like a Mountain Dew. I know it's bad for you, but it's what I usually have on me, or water. If I'm being smart.
Is anything other than water really good for you, though?
Well, is water even good for you? I mean, who knows what's in this water that we drink?
Yeah,
they say you're supposed to drink spring water as opposed to filtered or purified water. So I know that.
Dave, what's the water like there in the Netherlands? Is it magical?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. We seem to have like clear water. Some countries don't, right? So we're very lucky here. But
yeah. See, what you don't know, like this good-looking guy Dave here, Dave's actually like 104.
Yeah.
He's like eternal. Like he's like yeah, he's gonna live forever.
Yeah,
I
yeah. This is true. Next week, I'm turning 105.
nice.
Dave,
All
I
right.
gotta tell you, your world that you've created with Perfect 10 is one of my favorite in indie
Oh,
comics.
thank you.
No, you know
Thank
what? Let me rephrase that. I said one of my favorite in indie comics. It's one of my favorite in comics.
Oh, wow.
Period. I'm telling you, it is. You're doing so good. When you said that, that you want to focus on indie. Well, indie is the future, I think, of the comic
Yes,
industry. The other day
yes.
on Nerd Bacon, we read an article from the owner of this comic book chain called Coliseum of Comics, which is big down where I came from, the largest chain of comic book stores in the Southeast. And he was a very honest, a very heartfelt article that he wrote and was published by ICB2, that if Marvel and DC do not change and
Yeah.
invest in helping the industry, in 2 years, modern comic book industry that we know will be completely gone. We won't be gone. We'll be
No.
here. We'll be here. But Marvel and DC publishing and comic book stores, they will all close up. And so the only way that you'll be able to get your good comics is going to be through us.
It's true.
We're the future, my friend. We are the
It's
future.
true. We all knew this, right? We've been saying this for
We've known it
15
from the
years now.
beginning.
So why doesn't the mainstream catch on, right? It's their job to keep an eye on
Yeah, he
the
kept
playing
using the
field.
word. I'm sorry to interrupt, but he kept using the word uh, um, strip mined. It's like they've strip
Mm,
mined the industry for
yeah,
everything that it can offer
right.
because of their
Yeah.
greed. And I can't say that he's wrong. I can't say that he's wrong.
No, it's absolutely true. You have these fantastic franchises, fantastic characters. It takes effort to ruin that. It's,
Mhm.
I don't know. It's remarkable. Welcome, John. John A. Douglas. Welcome, sir. Mike says, "Welcome, cross over, guys." So, because guys, let's talk about you two, right? Um, you have a book, so you made a book together. Luke, we know you.
Yep.
Joe, can you tell us a little bit
Sure.
about you? What got you into comic books?
Sure. Well, back when I was a little kid, I used to read my brother's comic books. It was always kind of like this secret place to go to and check them out. And then I would find this little comic book store on the east side where, it was all old comics. I didn't even know there were new comics when I was little until I think my local hobby store was getting new comics and actually started ordering through Diamond when I was still in like middle school. Um, then in high school, I met some friends that drew comics, and we would create our stories just based off like single pictures. And then after that, when I graduated high school, um, soon after that, I started Starcross Comics, and it was with a lot of my friends, and I started meeting more friends who did comics, and we decided let's all do this together instead of apart. So now we have about 13 creators in Starcross. We've been doing this for
Oh wow!
about 25 years, maybe 26 now. I got to double check. And this was way before crowdfunding. I mean, we never had that. We just dug into our pockets and paid the printer to print our comics, and we're doing it on, you know, Bristol board and Zipatone and just dip pens and everything. And we didn't have computers. Now I would have to hire an inker because I wasn't that great. But with the computer programs, like I use Manga Studio, or what's it called, Clip Studio Pro now. And then I don't need an inker, and I learned to color my stuff. I used to hire a colorist for everything. And computers made things real easier to do. And most of the creators in Starcross are writers but not artists, but we do have a handful of creators who are the artist and the writer, so they do everything, which is not pretty much unheard of, except for a few people like Luke, like me, and a couple other guys. But that's that adds another level. And then when you're running your own company or studio, of artists. You're not just working on your own projects, but you're working on their projects. You're trying to get their projects out and get seen. And like Luke's running a funding site, and I run my website, and we're doing conventions, and we doing other mediums, and
Mhm.
it's a lot of work. And we all have full-time jobs as well, so we're just always cranking, always doing above and beyond to make our work look as good as things on the shelf, and but it has more passion behind it, because there are stories, and we're trying to do something unique, and we're trying to do it together, so we raise everyone up with us. And that's
Mhm.
the whole point of Starcross. And Starstruck, he's my main character in
Yeah.
in my company.
Right. Yeah, yeah. When you're in indie comics, you can't really miss Starcross Comics, right? It's there are a lot of titles. You have a lot of titles.
These guys are
Titles, yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
everywhere. Yeah.
Good. So,
And
so
that's
this
how
is
we met
basically
Luke.
your publishing house.
Mhm.
This is a company. You're the one running it, right?
Yeah. Yes.
You have other writers. You brought in other writers, other artists.
So we only bring in, I mean, we'll work with other artists and other writers, but we only like bring in creators. So if you're
Mm,
the creator, you might not even be the writer of your book, you might not be the artist of your book, but you're the creator of this book.
mm,
Then we bring in creators. So they could be the whole package, or they might just
mm,
be the writer, they might just be the plot. They might be hiring a writer that's better than them. So if
right.
we go off of three things in Starcross, it's quality. So is your book like at a level that we would feel comfortable like gushing over and talking about? And two is the creator. Is the creator have like a attitude problem, or do they have an ego problem, or are they really hard to work with, or are they maybe they're better off just staying on their own? And then the third one is content. What is the story about? Is it something we'll feel comfortable with? Is it something that's like, I don't want to do a book about that, or I then doesn't mean it's wrong. It means like, do we want to get behind the subject matter? So those are the three things we go off of, and it usually helps to go off of that. Some people, they don't have necessarily an organized standard, and what happens is they just go, oh, this book looks great, and then they bring someone in, and I've done this too, and then they turn out to be really bad for the company, or the content is like something that they shouldn't have been putting out anyways. So, and Luke's gone through the same kind of stuff, and that's what happens when you open
Mhm.
up to others, participating in what you're building, right, Luke?
Yeah, it's all it's all part for the course. Really, when you're trying to kind of expand your circle and the number of people that you work with, you kind of have to sift through those, though. I mean, it
Yeah.
happens, and then you wind up finding the people that you like working with. And whether it's on your own publishing house or somebody else, I'm over on Arrow now. I was on Starcross for a while. I'm over
Oh, you
with
were?
Arrow now. I was, yeah. In fact, the whole Fun My Comic thing, all of this stuff that Luke is doing right now, Joe's responsible for it. Really, I mean, he kept me in the comic industry when I first ran into one of those grifters. There's the people that want to exploit and take money,
Yeah.
and I was ready to get out. And then I found Joe. Well, rather, Joe found me. And and Joe is one of the most honest individuals in the comic book industry that I've
Thanks.
ever met. He never does anything to honor himself. He does everything to honor everybody else. So he's not only a great creator, a great leader in that sense, but he's a great friend
Mm,
and a great example of what a man of God should be. And so there's a
Thanks.
lot that goes on with Joe. And having met him and become friends with him is what kept me in the industry. And it's what keeps me looking for other people like him, because I know there's people out there
Mhm.
that maybe don't have the tools or haven't had the experience with it, but I know they're good people. And so
Yeah.
it helps you be intentional about sifting through the people that maybe don't have the best intentions, or their attitude is
Yeah.
not quite right. so
Yeah.
you can find the good ones. Like I think Dave, like you fall into that same category. There's good ones out there, but you start to expand your circle, and I think this project is an example of that.
Yeah.
This was written 5 years ago, while I was still with Starcross. When we left, when we parted ways, we left ways. It wasn't under a negative. Really, wasn't negative. It wasn't. There was no problem with Joe and I. It was other people that kind of.
Yeah.
It was a path change that needed to happen. It was inevitable at some point, but it wasn't negative on our part. And so as we went through that, Joe's like, "Do you still want to do this?" And I'm like, "Well, of course. I think it's a great project." And I said, and then even now we have a larger audience. I have the Arrow audience to promote to while we're doing this, and you have the Starcross audience to promote to. But it just kept getting delayed because of life. Not only stuff that's normally happening, but somebody decided to get sick for a while, and then started a website, which really slowed things down. But so finally, we were able to work on this project, and now coming back to it after years, like literally years. Joe did the art for it. I wrote it, and he did the art. It's been a while since you've done the art, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you had this project on the shelf. So drawn, everything drawn also.
Yeah.
Was
So we
done.
It wasn't colored.
It. Yeah.
Wasn't colored.
Colored it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were
Or
trying
lettered.
to find time to do it. We were trying to find time to do it, right?
Yeah.
But we didn't. We never could. So we decided just to add people to the team. So we wanted to use Patrick because he's done all of the hybrid stuff.
Yeah.
He had a really good, but he's really busy with a lot of other projects that we're doing right now with Arrow, and one of the other projects I'm working on. And so we didn't have time for him to squeeze it in, but another colorist that I work with, Edgar Tavitas, who did Rift Riders, who's very talented, had time. So we got him on it.
Yeah.
And then I was going to letter it, but I haven't had time. So we got Paul Bird to work on it from Fall of Man. He wrote and lettered his book. And so we had him work on it. And so we wound up building this creative team around it that was very interesting. And what was really fun was looking at the art and then seeing the letters come to it and then rewriting some of the stuff as we went, kind of like almost the Marvel method to kind of come up with like, this can happen here. And this, and like we could land things a little bit better because we had some time and we've learned so much, I think, both in writing.
5 years. 5 years. That's a long time when you develop yourself as this creator.
Well, I don't like leaving projects just lay, even if I started something and it got halfway done and it's, and we all have those kind of projects that we're like, oh, I want to get back to that someday and finish that up. I don't like having loose ends. So I'm like, well, we wanted to do that story for a reason and I still want to do it. It's still a fun book. Some of my favorite books weren't necessarily the issues in Marvel or DC that were the most pivotal, or some of them were just like, that was a really fun read and you like remember that adventure, and it, I wanted to do something like that, and that's what this comes across. But it has important information for each of our books in it, which is cool. But it's a fun, in and out adventure that has real stakes, and I think the characterization, the personalities come out of the characters, so you develop their personality in the story. So
yes,
right.
it's not just a one shot that has no depth to it or has no context to it. It actually does help further the characterization and the storylines for both of our characters.
Right. The rabbit hole. Welcome, Cooper. Welcome, sir. He says you got a bagger, guy. So
Awesome,
how many
thank you.
baggers?
nice.
So you got a new one. You started with 7 today.
Nice.
Started with 7 today.
Oh wow,
now.
That's excellent.
Yes! Hell yeah! Hey, come on, baby! Come on! Yes! Come on! Ah! Yes! Yeah!
I love it.
All right, guys. All right, let's watch the trailer. You have
Okay.
a trailer going on. Let's check it out.
What is that thing? What was that thing rumbling? Oh, what is that? Could that be something new that is being introduced into the universe of, well, I guess technically hybrids and
Right.
Yeah.
Starstruck.
Both
And
universes.
yeah,
That was excellent. Who made this? Who made this trailer for you guys?
Oh, one of my buddies.
That was
did a great
excellent,
job.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love. Okay.
So what I was wondering, right? Because you said this was basically made 5 years ago, and in the meantime, you already made more books. So there are more books of
Yeah.
Trashman,
Yeah.
more books of
Mhm.
Starcross. What was his name? Sorry.
Yep, Starstruck. Yeah, people get. It's funny. So many of my things were star related when I was first creating books, the company and my characters. So a lot of times people interchange those.
So, but can you still because you created this crossover based on the place that the characters were 5 years back, right?
Yep.
So if you read them now, do you notice that?
For me, Starstruck does a lot of wandering. So in a lot of his side stories, it's kind of like, if Wolverine shows up in Canada or Australia or, the Bronx, you just figure he gets around, he's wandering around. Starstruck wanders around a lot. He won't stay put for a while. Where like in hybrids, Trashman joins this team. Starstruck has the opportunity to join this team very early on, and he rejects that. But he will come back to it at some point. But right now he's wandering. So this plays into the points of his getting into adventures in other locations. And I'll let Luke explain his.
Yeah. So this is noticeable in the future books. So there are things that, so this takes place between issues 5 and 6 of hybrids. We're on issue 9. So there's technology that exists now in my current world's universe that's actually introduced in this book. And so I knew that it was introduced in this book. So I knew we were going to put it out. So this is kind of like retroactively helping people see the backstory of some of the stuff that we have here. And it also introduces 2 new characters. One of which in my universe will play a big role in a future arc in the third arc, the fourth arc that we're writing right now. So I say me and Piper were working on it. But so issues 13 through 16, I believe 17, we will have to deal with this thing again that we're dealing with here. And so it does have, it is in continuity, and it does have an impact on our stories. And when you read it, you're like, oh, that makes sense. But it also develops the character, so you get to understand why, like in my case, why Trashman is a little bit more the way he is in issues 6 through 9, because we dealt with some of his characterization at the beginning and throughout this book. So you actually get to meet him a little on a closer level, on a more personal level, which
I think it's pretty difficult even to make a crossover that has impact on the individual stories. It's much easier I believe, to just make this one shot that's out of continuity, because you
Yeah.
have to really discuss these events and not let them mess up your regular story, right?
I think we
Right.
work good because we both like each other's ideas. So when Luke says
Mhm.
something I like, I go, oh, I like that. That's nice. And when I say something, he likes it. So we agree a lot, and we both have mutual themes. And I think the characters, we both wanted to add some more lore to that. We like world building. So if you like world building, you're always trying to move your world forward and tell more about it, tell more ancient parts, more future parts, more of the intricate world building and reasons behind everything.
Right. Yes.
Well, the
So.
world really informs the characters a lot.
Mhm.
So it's important. Plus, we had a real respect for each other's work, each other's characters. I think that's important with any crossover. And any crossover that I do in the future, I'm going to want to do the same thing. Writing it was a little difficult at first. It was like because we had 3 different creators at first. Kind of had a feeling that one of them wasn't going to stick around, so we wrote that character fairly generically,
Mm.
which was a smart move because then
Yep.
we were able to transition another one of Joe's characters into
Hmm.
that spot. But it was it was a lot of, this is what I want to do with your character. I wrote an outline. I ran the outline by Joe and the other guy first, got their thumbs up on that. Then I went to, scripting it and then into dialogue. And I actually had them help me with the dialogue. Like, would your character say
Yeah.
this? Is this something
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
fits into their personality?
Yes.
And does this scene fit with the who they are? It's like if I were writing Batman, I would want to
Mhm.
write Batman the way Batman should be written, not the
Sure.
way I think he should be written, right? So it kind of taught me in that moment how to write other people's characters.
Yeah.
And
Luckily,
yeah.
you didn't Tom King it, right?
Well, no, yeah, that was kind of I didn't want to. Like I was intentionally trying not to Tom King it.
Yes.
I wanted it to be a case where Joe would want me to write his character again in the
Mhm.
future. Or if
Right.
anybody else reads this, like, wow, Luke really took care with everybody's characters. I wouldn't mind Luke writing the script for me for mine.
Exactly.
That's what
Mhm.
I wanted because 5 years ago, I was really trying to establish myself as a writer. I was primarily an artist. That's what people knew me as, right? So I'm
Yeah.
really trying to establish myself as a writer.
Mhm.
And, now 5 years in the future, I think people have read enough of my stuff. They see me as one.
Mhm.
Uh, so I don't really feel like I have to prove that now. I think this right now is a reiteration of the hard work that's gone into it. And you can
Sure.
look back, like we can all now look back and say, look at where Joe and I were back then. You can see the seeds of some really cool ideas. And for something that's 5 years old, the story's
Yeah.
still fun. It's like a buddy cop thing,
Yeah.
like
Right.
these 2 guys, and it's goofy and there's some puns in there, but it's fast paced, a lot of action.
Yeah.
And back then we weren't doing 32-page books. We had to do 22 because just production costs 5 years ago, we were trying to keep everything at $3.99 or
Mhm.
lower.
Yeah.
And we had to be able to make money off of that. And so we could only do 24-page self covers back
Mhm.
then. And
Mhm.
now we've figured out, we've met new printers and we've got new technology, and 32-page books are no problem.
Mhm.
But we had to
So.
make this what it was, and so
Mhm.
it caused us to write a beginning, middle, and end
Yeah.
in 22
Right.
pages, tell a full story that impacted both universes.
So when you look back on this, right? You said you rewrote some dialogue because you can't really rewrite story structure, story beats, right?
Right,
But
yeah.
did you sometimes feel that you would write it different today? The story.
No, I don't think so. I think all the beats were right with it.
I
I
thought we
mean,
were going to have to rewrite it because it had been so long. And then I reread the script and I was like, you know what? I don't think I would change anything. I think it's great the way it is, you know?
Mhm.
mhm.
Perfect.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
so you are the artist, Joe, right? You.
Yeah. We hired a colorist and I had to flesh everything out. And yeah, I tried to do a lot. Luke did a couple pages, a few pages, and so I was trying to kind of
Mm,
channel his style. Because again, if you're drawing Batman or writing Batman, you can do whatever you want. It's a corporate character. If all of a sudden he changes personality, that's just the writer, that's just the artist. But with indie people, it's like you don't want to screw up their character because it's still being established. It's not they're not world famous characters yet. So it's like you want to say, am I doing it that Luke would like it? Am I doing it with how so and so creator would like his character portrayed? Where if you're just doing the Punisher, I mean, you could change it, you could do whatever if the editor approves it. But here, this is the creator owned character, so we want to be respectful to the creator and just help build their character and not make it my character or make it Luke's character. Be
mm,
respectful to the creators, and that's the difference between say a Marvel character. There is no creator. It's a corporation that owns the character.
right, but this is more from a writing standpoint, right?
Yeah.
Because with visuals, you can take the character in various directions, right? You can draw it very
So yeah, not
cartoony,
to
very realistic,
yeah
the entire spectrum in between, right?
yeah not to divert, but we have a book coming out next month, which is Biblical Proportions, and that has about like 40 creator owned characters in it, also from cross companies. So I want them to always say, I really like the scene that my character's in. That's exactly something he would say. You understand my character, as opposed to I'm just going to write him like this because I feel like that's what I want to do with the character. It's not about me, it's about that character. And I want to almost make it like that creator put that scene in. I'll
Well,
write it, but it's based off my thought
Dave, and you
of that
understand this.
book.
Sometimes you'll have a spot in a story, and you need some character. You need something that will do a certain thing to move the plot along.
Yes.
And sometimes you can do that with you can write someone else's character or another character a way that is only there just to progress the plot and
Mhm,
without giving really any kind of respect or care to it. But I like the way that Joe portrayed Trashman in his art. He did a good
mhm.
job. It's of when I see it, I see Trashman. I'm like, that's the guy. That's Clarence. And I never once did I. He made sure he got the costume right, which was I've had a few people draw him and just
Oh yeah.
draw the costume however they want. And I'm like, come on, it's really simple. The boots are simple, the gloves are simple, the
Yes.
belt is simple. There's nothing else to it. It's just a big, other without those elements, it just makes him. He's just a big redheaded guy with muscles and a beard. That's all he is.
Yes. And it's always in the details, right? You have certain details that kind of define these
Yep.
characters, and sometimes artists just don't get these details correct, right?
Mhm.
For some reason, it's really difficult to explain.
Mhm.
Joe got his hair and his beard. I mean, he
Yeah,
nailed those things. And
really cool guys. And this also the classic way for these characters to introduce, right? Starting with this little brawl,
Yeah.
yep,
and then hey,
there's some
I'm the
tropes
good
in there.
guy. I'm the good guy
Yeah.
also. Okay, let's work together, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, and
yeah.
what's funny is even in that scene there's a reference to an
Yeah.
interaction they've had in the past.
Yeah.
That book's coming out next month.
Oh, really? Oh, so they met
Yeah.
before this one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Before
That's the book
before
I
they make.
mentioned a minute ago.
Mm,
Yeah. So they meet actually in Biblical Proportions number, is it 2 or
Two.
3?
Two.
Number 2, which is coming out next month.
Yeah.
So it's funny. So like you can read this and like, oh, let me go and check that one out because I know
Yeah.
these, to kind of get that scene and everything. So, and we just thought it'd be a clever way to promote the books and each other's universes and stories and characters and
mhm,
introduce it. And, you know, um, the book's done where it's coming out. And so I think the crowdfunding is kind of an arbitrary thing. It's really the way to distribute these days. And so it's really kind of technically there for us to distribute, this awesome work to people. and we're very hopeful that this might spark other creators to do the same thing and to collaborate in such a way. I think it'd be.
Yes, it's not easy, by the way, to do collaborations with other indie creators do crossovers. It has a lot of things you need to negotiate. Who's going to publish it? Who does what? It's so much work.
It
Those
is. And I mean,
connected, those connected covers up there are actually our first 2 issues reprinted with those connected covers. So people who don't know, say, Luke's book or doesn't know my book, they can read the first issues when they get this book, and it'll make sense.
yeah,
those
so you might
characters are.
listen to here. It's Hybrids 1 and God number 1, with this holofoil or chromium or whatever you want to call it.
by
Creamy
Gilbert
background.
Monsanto. Really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So I
Awesome.
think a lot of people are familiar with his work. He's a
Yeah,
pretty solid guy. But yeah, so we thought this would be a neat way for people to get something that's collectible, kind of unique, and also be able to jump into both universe. So like if you're a Hybrids fan, you can read God for the first time. And if you're a God fan, you read Hybrids for the first time. So we
right.
thought that'd be a neat way to do that.
Yeah, God is the global order decree, and those are the bad guys of Starstruck's book. So I
mean, wouldn't a
I was
bad guy like
excited. Yeah,
make an acronym that says God?
yeah,
Like,
That,
wouldn't
that's
exactly.
so cool. The global order decree.
Yes.
It's like
So I
it's like
decided
the
to name
WEF,
it after
like the WEF
the
with supervillains,
organization.
right? Like
Yeah.
a WEF.
Yeah.
Excellent, man. Looks great. You get
this actually ends today. Like this won't be available past today.
Oh, the shot glasses. Nice.
Yeah, the pint glass and the tote bag. Pint
all
glass.
right.
So Joe does all of my chibi work because I
Yeah.
love the way he does chibis.
Oh, these are
There you go.
yours, Joe?
Yeah, I
Oh,
drew the chibis.
And I
Luke
color
came
them.
up with the idea. He said, Draw 2 chibis. We'll do them as a sticker set and some other stuff." And he's like, "Just base it off the cover." And I was like, "Oh, good. So that saves me having to come up with poses." So I just chibied the poses on the cover.
right. Yes. Looks
And
cool.
he made me
Man.
color them.
Yeah,
So
I said, "You want to color them since I'm drawing them?" He's like, "Great."
Yeah. And Critical Blast is fulfilling it for us.
Yeah. All right. That's always great. Critical Blast did American Bliss for us, and
Nice.
we are satisfied, man. It's fantastic to work with them. Man, this looks great. It looks like fun. And these characters also they seem like they would actually be friends. Like
Yeah, they're both Nephilim, so they're both learning about,
Yeah.
What it is to be half angel, half human, and what, how the world perceives them,
Yeah.
what they go through, what's their purpose, how do they struggle with their abilities and what they're supposed to do with their life. And a lot of their
Mhm.
history comes out in this cave where they learn a lot. So they're going to take that knowledge back into their books with them, and they're going to grow as characters and basically, increase in their awareness of what they are and what they should be doing, with that power.
Mhm.
Neither one of these guys really come up against a lot of people that can really stand shoulder to shoulder or toe to toe with them because they're so large. They're both larger than life.
Yeah.
They're, Trashman's 7'4", and you can see how big Starstruck is in comparison to him. These are guys that they don't fit in normal spaces, right? And even in a battle, which is why, through my story, Trashman and Chlorine developed the way they do because, here's this small little green-haired chick that can really hold her own in a battle. And so the two of them work so well in their chemistry on the battlefield are so good that that chemistry carries over into a relationship. Well, with these guys, they also have similar chemistry, only not in a gay way. We're not making it gay. But we're not gonna do one of those. Own the, anyway.
Not panda-versing.
We're not panda-versing it. But in like that bromance kind of way that there's this respect that, we're soldiers. We can do this together. Like we're
Mhm.
Like, we've been through the trenches. We've almost died together. Now we've fought a couple of times each other side by side, those kind of things. And there's a respect that the only thing I can't, because I've never been in battle. I've never served, but looking at listening to the stories from my dad and other friends that I know that served, that connection. And then the only other thing I can bring it to is kind of what we encounter here. Like, we build a respect or develop a respect for one another when we see multiple books coming out. You see, we're grinding together. We deal with the same critiques from from the ones that are upset that we're making the money to begin with. And, so we kind of deal with that in this space. And I think all of us here identify as Comicsgate, so you know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
The same kind of stuff gets spewed at us just because we have a conservative view on things, and just because we have some values that don't line up with a more liberal agenda that seems to have worked its way into media. And so I can kind of connect it to that a little bit, where you build that camaraderie with people and that mutual respect, even though you're not on the same team all the time.
Mhm.
You respect each other and you're on the same team most of the time. And so I I I
Mm.
kind of I kind of felt that with these characters, and I wanted to give that sense by the end of the 22nd page, that when you see these guys walk off in the sunset,
Mhm.
that that there's not only the potential for them to meet up again, um, but that when they do, it's going to be important. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun.
Right.
Yeah, this is such a fun book. It has so many memorable scenes where you're like, "Oh, I like that scene. Oh, that scene was really funny, or that scene was really cool, or this page was really cool." And
Mhm.
those build memories of like, I really like this book. I want to open it again. You got to read this part, where you share it to somebody and show them the book. It's a real cool book to own, because you want to read it again and again, and it's so fun, and the fights are really cool, and just the information is really really interesting that they get. And the characters, you can tell they're two real characters that are hanging out in an adventure together.
I mean, even though both of us have grown so much in writing and art, it's one of those things where, we can see like oh man, I could do that better now, or maybe we
Mhm.
should have,
Sure.
done
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
different, or, fix that here or whatever.
Yeah.
I can look at a page now and see all the tangents that I didn't even know existed before,
Hmm.
but
Mhm.
it's one
Yeah.
of those things where after 5 years, it still holds up enough to where I'm proud of the work. I
Yeah.
think, this is something that people should look at. And I think, and I'm sure if people want to be critical, they could probably tear a little piece of parts of it to bits. But quite honestly, I think if you just read it and you think I'm going to be entertained
Yeah.
and I'm going to have fun with this,
Well,
then
well,
it's more than meets its value.
Yeah.
that's the creator's curse also, right? You
Right.
usually see your own work through the mistakes,
Yep.
through you see everything that's wrong with it. But most people don't look at things that way. I was wondering about these symbols here.
Mhm.
Is
Yeah.
there, so are these random,
We no
like
no
random drawings, or is there
no.
more behind it?
We talk about that in the book.
Mm,
These are kind of like hieroglyphic writings,
yes.
and Trashman can't read it. He doesn't know what it is, but obviously
Oh,
when he gets near it, it starts to glow
Yeah.
and buzz and whirl, and
mhm.
all that kind of
Which is
stuff.
cool.
But
I think you came up with that they would glow.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. I
And
knew
then
they had to be there, but you came up with glow. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Yeah.
yeah, I said I think they should glow when it gets near, when they get near it, because their DNA
Yep.
activates it. And so
Okay.
they're kind of waking this cave up
Hmm.
that's been dormant. Just their presence there is.
Right.
And
Nephilim
so
DNA.
Starstruck can actually read it, and he doesn't know why he can read it,
Yeah. He didn't know he could. Yeah.
but he can read
Mm,
it. And in fact, we added a part, and this was recent. One of the things that we added was that what he reads
Yeah.
actually impacts.
Yeah.
It's how Starstruck learns something that he does in his story.
Yeah.
So he learned it in this cave. He read it there. So
That is awesome.
Yeah. Really cool part at the end.
That's fantastic. Great. So Joe, what are Starstruck's powers or
So he's
abilities?
again, he's a Nephilim, and he has super strength, durability, and heightened senses. So he can, like, if he were like to taste blood, he could tell like everything about it, like where it's from, who it's from. He can see, he can smell things that are not a normal person could understand. He has a lot of awareness of his senses, and he he will eventually learn some energy manipulation, which comes from the things that he calls out based off of the things that are in this cave and other things in his story. A lot of secrets have to do with the star over his eye, and he doesn't even understand that, but he's able to open things and able to almost use his angelic side in that fashion. And I kind of want to leave it a mystery where people theorize, what the star on his eye does, but he sees a lot of visions. So basically, a lot of his more supernatural elements to his power um, come from that star over his eye that gives him a heightened awareness of more of the ethereal powers that govern the world, and he's able to tap into that on his angelic side. But the gauntlets and bands around his shins, those were actually shackles from his first issue. That was L metal, which is this angelic metal that was restraining him. And the suit, he was actually just naked in this laboratory that took him when he was birthed from an angel and the scientist, a woman who works for the God. And he grew up in a laboratory, and that suit, when he broke out, he didn't have any clothing. And those suits are actually really baggy on most of the scientists. It's like a biohazard suit, and it has a helmet that goes on it. But he rips that off. But the other people in the lab wear those, and it keeps it clean from like blood pathogens and anything like that. So when he walks in, it sees that he's covered in blood from this one scene, so it puts that suit on him to kind of what do you call it, like quarantine him from
yeah,
the
like
blood, so he doesn't contaminate the room. And
trying
when
to
that goes
decontaminate him.
yeah, when that decontaminate, when that goes on him, now it's skin tight because he's so huge. But normally on a regular person, it's really baggy, and it's kind of like one of those like hazmat suits. And so it's really tight on him, and it just adapts. It actually adapts to, because he also has 6 fingers, so it has to adapt to his polydactylism. Um, and it says that in the book, and that's how he gets his suit. And it's a biotech suit, which if it were to be sliced or cut, it kind of reassembles itself digitally, and you could actually reprogram that to any kind of clothing, but you would have to know the coding. So if he runs into someone who knows the coding, they can actually change things on his suit, so that allows him to update it if he ever needs to.
What's cool is
Wow.
that we introduced the L metal into
Mhm.
this universe as well. So kind of in this kind of shared thing. So it's neat. We talk more about it, and you get to learn more about it. And it actually, so where Trashman can kind of just naturally use this energy power,
Yep.
Starstruck learns how to use an energy power.
Right.
And Trashman, who's used to being invincible, when he's in this place, he's not invincible anymore. He can be cut.
Mm,
This L metal is actually able to cut him. So he has to not just be a brick. He has, this is the first time he can actually take damage. And so he has to be clever, and they have to come up with a plan. And that's
Yeah.
the whole thing. He keeps asking what the plan is. And Starstruck, like, we don't have a plan. Just run. Let's get out of here. Like this is dangerous. Like the thing that they encounter in this cave.
And one of
It,
the villains, there's another villain too.
yeah.
He's the
That,
green guy there, and his
yeah,
name's
the guy
Gorgon.
with green, right?
Yeah.
Where is
Yeah,
he? This guy.
Yep.
there he is. Yep.
Be cool. Really
Yeah,
cool.
Gorgon. You know, he's an old character of mine. He used to be Starstruck's primary villain when I was in high school, which was like in 96, 98. And I hadn't used him since. And I just thought I should use him again. I think my last picture of him was 96. And hold on, Jax. Oh, okay. And then he was able to be slightly redesigned a little bit. I know Luke always liked the Greek gods being, a alluding to Nephilim and stuff like that. So I kind of integrated more Greek stuff into his design, and Luke's like, "Hey, that's perfect." So I'm like, "Okay, let's roll with this guy."
Like, that's awesome. I actually really like this character.
Yeah.
And it fits with the monologuing that I wrote for him.
Yeah.
Welcome, Chris, Red Dress Press. Welcome, sir. And Vicious Ink Comics. Welcome, Vic. Hill and Hearty panel and chat. Welcome, sir.
Nice.
You know, this is why indie comics are so cool, man. You ask creators one question, tell me something about your character, and look what happens, man. They have so much to say. They're so passionate, enthusiastic. This looks awesome. Okay, let's go through the perks quickly, guys. So you have for $3 buy the guys a coffee, because why not, right?
Yep.
Everyone likes coffee. And then we have for $5 you get the digital version, which is great. Some people do not offer that, which I don't really understand.
Me neither.
Just do this, guys. Digital for just $5. If you want to support this campaign, and for $10 you get the book.
If you
Use
buy
code-
multiple copies, use ship too. Yep.
Oh wow, cool! That's awesome. You can get the chibi set also separately, right?
Yep.
This is separate.
Yep.
Okay.
Separately or as an add-on.
Yeah.
And we're only printing enough for this campaign.
Oh.
So, well, that's probably a lie. We're probably going to print a minimum run, of so many, but
you're talking stickers, or you're talking books?
Both. Very minimum run, yeah.
Okay. Right. The metal print with the Monsanto art.
Yeah,
Cool.
those are print to order. Like those are so we're only printing over by a couple, so that in case any come into us damage, then whatever's left over, Joe and I are going to keep for our own collection.
Oh yeah.
Right. And this is like comic book sized, or is it double?
Yeah, it's a little bit bigger than comic book size, but yeah, but it still fits in a Gemini.
Yes. Okay. Then we get the holofoil connected covers. So these are the first issues of both these titles, right?
Or is that the metal print, Luke?
No, that's the double.
That is the double. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, the holofoil is a little more expensive to print, and those are a very small run. We're not going to keep any of those on file because we already have a ton of our issue ones.
Yeah.
I have a few more issue ones than Joe does due to a really interesting.
As it says here, you will only print 40. So.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, and then we have the team up bundle. You get the whole shebang. I think so. You get the entire collection and the kitchen sink. This includes the glass and the bag.
Yes.
Awesome. Guys, let's refresh. I have 8 backers right now. Let's refresh. You never know, right? 10 backers.
Nice.
Thank you, guys.
Holy
awesome.
shit.
Yes! Hell yeah! Hey, come on, baby! Come on! Yes! Come on! Ah! Yes! Yes!
That's awesome. I love it. Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah,
thank you, guys.
Ever closer.
Woohoo! Yeah. Fantastic. 24 days still to go. 12% funded. Excellent, guys. The link to this campaign is pinned in the chat. It's also in the description of the video. Please go check it out, share it. You can help by sharing, right? Talk about this campaign. And for just $3, you can already support these guys. So please do, guys.
For that creativity, we do appreciate it very much. Dave, thank you for having us on and letting us talk about our characters. Obviously, we love these guys a lot, and Joe and I, we've got a lot of respect for each other. Like I said, I hold him in high regard as one of the most genuine and kind people I've met.
Thank you.
In this industry, and it's always fun to talk with you, Dave. I have a tremendous amount of respect for you and what you create, and how you handle yourself. Got great poise and great character as well. So it's been a lot of fun today.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you both for being my guests today. Before we close, guys, I need to share my own campaign because I have something going on also. We have Perfect 10 issue 4. It's on Indiegogo or on Kickstarter. The links are in the description. The book is like 6 pages away from being finished. So we're now doing the last pages. They're in progress. You get art from Mike Bowden, for instance. You can pick from 2 awesome covers. We have a fantastic award-winning story. Things happen, guys. Things happen. And we learn more about the villain, the main villain of the book. What's her deal? We learn more about that. You get some hot babes. You get campaign extras like this free print from Gorgeous and Grotesque. You can get a character commission. So any character you want, Pau will draw for you, and you will get it digitally and physically. We have some stretch goals like this one. You will get this for free, plus the cards. These are unlocked, so it doesn't show yet, but they are unlocked. If you manage to get to 20,000, you get a free brand new 32-page extra comic book, right? So let's make it happen, guys. We have 8 days left. 8 days left, and then this closes also. So please share, please check it out. Stop the screen. That was my little thing. Luke, Joe, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And special thanks to the chat for everyone who showed up today, everyone who backed. Thank you so much. If you like this stream, this conversation, give it a like. If you didn't like it, give it a dislike, and I'm very sorry. I'll be back next week, next Sunday. Probably. I'm not sure yet, but probably I'll be back next week, next Sunday. So same time, same channel, new guest. Hope to see you then. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.